Hi, my name is Oliver, and in this tutorial I will show you how to connect an MQTT broker to the TICKpy container. Okay, so first of all I've prepared a few things. So as you can see, there's already an MQTT broker on the MICA, which in my network setup is set to the 31 address, so we have to memorize that for our telegraph configuration. And yeah, so let's go back. And the second thing I have prepared is I created a very simple flow within Node-RED to generate some data that is sent to the MQTT broker, and this data we want to use in our in our influx database. And so what I've done here is basically I generate every second a random number. So that goes from 0 to 100. I've set a topic for our broker, so it's test number. And that is important. In this case, the message needs to be a JSON string. So I've stringified the whole message that is sent to the MQTT broker. And that is because when we configure Telegraph, we have to specify the data format, and the data format that we're going to use is JSON. So make sure that the message or the the data you send to the broker is JSON. So in order to see what we're sending, I have this debug node here. So let's click here, and now you see the random values, the payload, and the topic is test number. And those are connected to the MQTT broker. So if we click on here, it's actually the MQTT broker on the MICA. Okay, so now we have to go to the TICKpy container and open it up. And we need to go to Telegraph. So let's download the configuration file, open it up. Now you will see a very long configuration file. And now at first glance this looks overwhelming, but the nice people at Influx Data have prepared a lot of examples that are currently not active. So there's a hashtag before, so that's not active. And so you can very easily navigate through this and specify output plugins and input plugins and other configurations by modifying the example. Now what we can see here is there are, as I said, output and inputs plugins, and the only output plugin that is on default active is the Influx database output. And there we are writing to the Telegraph, and we also have specified our target, which is the local host, because it's on in the same container. Now let's go to the, and of course you could also have various other outputs here. Anyway, so let's go to the inputs, and let us directly look for a specific input, and that is the input for MQTT. So let's go to inputs.mqtt. There we go. Okay, so now this is the section where we specify the our MQTT consumer. So we have to uncomment this. Okay, so now what we have to do is to modify the settings over here, and that is done by at first specifying the server. So that's the MQTT broker, and we have to set this to the IP address, the 31. And now what you also need to make sure is that you put a TCP in front of it, because that is actually the new format, which is not, if you look at the example here, it's not showing, but in the current version this is required, so you have to specify this. Now, quality of service we leave as it is, the same for the connection timeout. Now we have to go to topics, and in topics we have to specify, so at first we can, delete the stuff that's in here and set our topic, which was test number. So the rest can also, is fine. And the last point is basically, here is data format, and we need to change that to JSON, because what we're sending to the broker is a JSON string, and Telegraph needs to know that in order to decode the information. So that's that. We can now save the file, and can then upload it to the container again. So that's now our modified version. And click upload. Now what happens in the background is not only the configuration file is uploaded, but the container also restarts Telegraph in the background. If we then go to log files and scroll down, we can see that the Telegraph is started again. And this is important here, because we need to make sure that the MQTT client is connected. If this message is not shown here, then something went wrong, it's not really connected. So make sure that you see this line here, the MQTT client is connected. Okay, so now let's go to Chronograph, go to the Data Explorer, and now we want to go to Telegraph, and what you can see already is there shows up the MQTT consumer. Now that is basically the name that is specified in the input plugin, and it maps to the actual name of the plugin. So it was inputs.mqtt consumer, and whenever you specify a plugin, it will automatically create a table with the same name in the database, so that you can easily find it. Great, so let's have a look at here. There we see the topic. Now we have the fields payload, and voila, these are basically our random numbers. So from here on, we could, of course, integrate them into our dashboards and work further with those, or use Capacitor to process them even further. Good, so that's it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, I will show you how to use so-called user-defined functions with Python in order to apply advanced analytics. So thanks for watching and hope to see you in the next tutorial.